All right, once you begin to define your terms, what things that the director or the the teacher or whatever has described, trying to understand it, looking at references, looking at things. You also want to think about what things are they looking for. What did they specify in the scene that they wanted? You don't want to be spending time doing or working on something that is unnecessary. In a particular example, the director didn't want set pieces, main objects that they were going to have on stage. He was doing a show, and he was going to have certain things on stage, like machines or tables. And in the artwork that we were creating for him, he didn't want those things in there. He just wanted like windows and a clock or something else that kind of establishes an environment, kind of like the background environments. And so those kind of things could be left out. So you don't want to spend your time focusing on things that don't need to be there, and you got to know what those are. Also think about what the feeling, what ideas or feelings need to be emphasized. This goes for mood too. And I think of that as a form of adjectives. In this particular project, the director described a nightclub that was steamy and kind of sexy and a particular, gangster type of thing. And so those are the kinds of ideas and images and moods that I would be looking for. And so I want to know about that. So when I see something like that, maybe in something else, like I said, walking down the street, that I'm kind of processing all this stuff all the time. So I'm kind of sensitive to those things in my environment. And as I'm looking at things, references, and I thought, oh, that would be perfect for this project or that project. So I understand. Think about things in your scene. Is this going to be a background object or a foreground object? Is this going to be something that I need a lot of detail on? Or does it need to be in the background? Does it just need to be implied? And so examples of the McBoing Boing thing, as we're looking, how do I represent a wall? Do I need to have a floor? Can it just be a solid color? Just implying colors within the curtains and outlines. It doesn't have to be super detailed, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, in other applications, I might need a photorealistic type of thing. It needs to look like a tree and all that. And so those things are really important to understand. Can I have a background that basically doesn't show perspective, and things don't have to be really giving the sense of perspective, even though they do. This feels like it's farther away, but there's no direct necessarily perspective lines or floor grids going to it. Again, emphasizing things in distance and depth, but more in a flat manner and more through color and tone. And so those are important elements. I don't have a lot of detail here, but I just kind of give the impression of architecture or decorations that I don't have to worry about what they really are. Just kind of say, okay, there's something fancy here, and it makes it, have a specific character. And those are, then that's enough for this particular project. Mood also has to do with colors. So thinking about nightclubs or scenes and things like that is important. What colors give you the sense of evening or low-lit environments or daylight. And those things are stuff you might have to study further and look at lots of references. Again, what's the specific application for the thing I'm making? Well, you don't want to be creating art that's very small. That would be great for a web page when you need to project it onto a theater screen that's going to be huge. So you need to know, well, do I need to create my art, in HD, in 720, or 1020? What's the appropriate? Does it need to be square like an old TV, or does it need to be 16 by 9 like a new TV? What am I working with so that I make applications that fit the actual thing I'm going to be doing? I fit my art to fit the application. I don't want to design something. It's better to be big and to scale it down than it is to be small and try to scale it up. You made something this big and that was your final product and it needs to be on the screen, and guess what? You're going back to square one unless you can find some software that can do it for you without destroying the details. Again, how much level of detail do I need? And also, this is important. This is something that I want you to be thinking about, something you must do. Variations of objects in different scenes. Different quantity right now is better than quality in a lot of ways, okay? You are thinking about your idea in a lot of different ways. I don't want to see one drawing and say, well, this is my idea. No, I want to see 20 or 30 ideas, kind of concept ideas. Now, they don't have to be fully fleshed out, but I want to see 20 or 30, 50, 100. And you're saying, that's crazy, I don't have time to do that. No, that's not crazy, and you do have time to do that. It isn't hard to make thumbnail sketches. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here's a rule of thumb. When you're presenting in class, you need to show you've done work and you've thought about your stuff. If you come to class with 1 or 10 little sketches, to me that's embarrassing. That shows that you haven't spent any time on something. You haven't processed the material. To me, that's pretty much useless. You start presenting 20 things, it's still weak, but it's getting better. It's still pretty embarrassing. Start presenting me 20, 25, 30, 40 sketches, something that you've been doing. To me, that means you've at least spent about 10 or 15 minutes on the idea, which is better than the other two. You start showing 50 or 60 sketches, 100 sketches. Now you're actually thinking about things. Now I want to spend some time on this because it's absolutely important that you understand what I mean. A lot of you want to show up to class with one little scribbly drawing and say, this is my idea. And I'm supposed to get all my details from that scribbly little idea that looks like you did in 2 seconds. Okay? Sometimes you might get lucky and may hit on something that really works. But most of the time, I want to see a process. I want to see you thinking about something over and over and over and over and over again. Mixing it up. Meaning proportion changes. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So, for instance, I'm going to be, hope you can see this back here. These are ideas. I'm just doing a logo kind of concept, and I have lots of different things here. There's on one page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 20 things right there, and that probably didn't take me that long to do. Just processing this information. There's 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. These are not all fully fleshed out. There's no full color. 26, 27, 28. 29, 30, 31. Okay, 31. Those are 31 ideas that probably took me about 15 minutes to draw or doodle. Another example. Concepts. Talking about arranging things differently. I had a concept for a trailer that I wanted to do. I draw little boxes, like little screen, like little boxes. Let me make sure this is working. So I had an idea of a trailer, and so I draw little boxes around here, just little ideas, thumbnail sketches. How do I organize things in different ways? Maybe a different lighting source, and I just do that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ideas on that page. Here's another one, 8, 9, 10 ideas on that page. Different points of view, leading the eye in different places. Close-up, far away close-up shots, different tonal values, change of the camera position. And I do that so that I can begin work. So I do these first. What that allows me to do is create a scene, something like this. So I did my drawings first, gave me a principal idea. And once I had my ideas, then I could then begin making concepts and actually then go to work on my actual scene itself. Another example, taking the same kind of things. I had a concept for a house for one of my projects. This is the sketch I drew probably 10 years ago. I hope you can see it. And I drew this first as a concept, and then once I had the sketch, I actually made the model, which I ended up using in different videos. You can see the model of the house right back there. So that was my sketch of the house. Here's another. I used it twice in 2 different projects. You might have seen this one. It's the same house in the background here. And so it's the same exact thing. I don't think there's a better shot of it right there. And so using that, I had this concept first. So I didn't just start making something and hope that it would come along. I went off my reference. So how does this apply to this current project? Well, when you are thinking about, in this particular case, this pajama game project, whatever it is, this video will be seen by people who aren't working on this project. But whatever the project is, you've listened to the director, you've listened to what they want, listened to their adjectives, what did they describe, what moods did they think, what did they want, what did they not want, I don't want this, I don't want that, I want it in a particular style. And so taking that into consideration, so if I were you, I would start looking at reference footage. So I would go to the Daily Motion. Go to the Daily Motion, see if I can here, and me go to this, and I would watch the video, and I would pick out core things in the video that I thought were important. So for instance, as I scrubbed through the movie, there's the office scene. If I can get it to jump to that section. Particular aesthetic value, particular shapes in the scene, in the actual room. So as I look at this movie, I look at different parts of it. I'm going to be doing backgrounds. One of my favorite shots is the shot inside the factory here, where we can see down the rows of people. Some things, I look at this and I pick out things like these lights, and look how they create nice sense of perspective. Now I don't need to do the project does not require me to draw sewing machines or anything, but they want windows and maybe signage and maybe this clock and maybe a back wall or this fan in the back. Okay? So I'm going to pick out things like that, and I'm going to use that. So for instance, I might come up with some sketches, some quick sketches about features within that scene. Look at this page. None of it is really good, but there's a clock of an idea. There's a clock and a clock and a clock and a fire in the hose or the piping in the background, different shapes and different patterns. Walls. I might even try to lay out things in an abstract kind of way. How do I define shapes in just lines and just solid blocks of color? What would that look like? Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Here's another idea with lights, and here's a fan, and here's like a back wall. Maybe these are doors, maybe these are windows. This shows perspective. And I'm showing this as a means of saying I'm putting a lot of ideas down. Here's a staircase from the Gerald McBoing Boing idea. How do I show like a ladder or windows? How do I do that? What does that look like? And so I'm putting these things out there as kind of studies and processing the content. This is projected on the back wall. What would that look like with actors up front? Now these aren't final, but these give me something to think about. Maybe this ends up being a good representation of things. There's a ladder, here's a hose, here's a light, here's a back wall. I don't know. Here's some concept for lights, in kind of just triangle and lines, pipes, hoses. Now maybe some of these won't get used, maybe none of them will get used, maybe none of them are acceptable. But you're thinking about it, and maybe something. Here's the light pole with the light bulb, all as a light. Here's a sewing machine in the style of mid-modern, at least my interpretation of it. And so those things, there's 50 to 100 drawings there, or more probably. Maybe I'm going to hit on something. When the director sees that, he might be like, oh, I love the way you did the light right there. I love that. That's what I want. And I love the way you made perspective.